This is Duke University.
The discourses of modernity too readily assume that constructions of the past are about learning from the mistakes of that past. This is a common assumption, even a dominant one in my country. I've been studying history all my adult life, and the one sure thing I've learned is that societies hardly ever learn from the mistakes of their pasts. Societies, I believe, and individuals possibly as well, learn most readily not from the past, but from the future. What we perceive to be the future opening to us, what we experience as our participation in the making of that future, what we feel as our smaller journeys joining with the larger journeys of collectivity, nation, and humankind, determine in fundamental ways our embrace of values, symbols, narratives, and pasts. What we learn from the past, I'm suggesting, is shaped indelibly by what we are learning from the future. When we feel alienated from the future, then mistakes of the past become a foreign country to us. Equally, and for me this is another form of alienation, when we feel overly at home with this future, when its opening is overdetermined for us or by us, when our personal journeys are subsumed by larger journeys, when we feel overly at home with the future, then the mistakes of the past become a foreign country to us. And the mistakes of South Africa's pasts, I would submit, have become a foreign country to most South Africans. Befriending the mistakes of the past, which I'm arguing is of the same order as, if not the same as, befriending the future, is the work of memory, the work of archive. The archive and the formulation of Jacques Derrida opens out of the future. The call of justice here, the call of justice at work in archive, is a call for archive to be opened fundamentally to a justice which is always coming. Open to participation in the constitution and interpretation of the archive. Open to the voices of people, to contestation, liberated from the tyranny of orthodoxy, positioned on the horizon of an obligation to justice and of an endless responsibility before the ghosts of those who are not yet born or who are already dead. And now I come back to the center of memory and where I think we are at this particular moment. Just a few months ago, our Board of Trustees adopted the following vision and mission statements for the center. Our vision is a society which remembers its past, that's in the plural, listens to all its voices, and pursues social justice. And our mission is to contribute to the making of a just society by keeping alive the legacy of Nelson Mandela, providing an integrated public information resource on his life and times, and by convening dialogue around critical social issues. I'm sure you would agree, not a conventional presidential library. But, and we at the foundation are being quite deliberately self-reflective about this. The concept of a center of memory, a centering of memory, inclines us to the past, to the meta-narrative, to the energy of the declarative, the protecting of the insight. We have to work against this incline. And for us, memory is dialogue. If you sit on a chair in your back garden and think about your childhood, you're engaging in a dialogue with yourself. And the challenge for us is to always open memory to that dynamic. Memory must be contested. Different views, different narratives, interpretations need to be given space. The example I've chosen here is, some of you might know that our government is attempting to pass a new state secrecy bill. And in many ways, it is aimed to unravel the advances that we've made in terms of freedom of information. What we've been doing over the last 2 years is to convene dialogue spaces. And these are very particular spaces. It's relatively easy to go to Parliament and to make submissions. And we've done that several times. It's relatively easy to post comments on a website or to do direct advocacy work with key stakeholders. But what we've tried to do in the name of Mandela is to create a safe space, one where people who don't want to talk to each other will come and sit around the table and will feel free to say the unsayable. And so we've had national intelligence operatives sitting around a table with the Right to Know campaign activists. And we've made some progress. Improvements have been made to the bill. It's now been withdrawn, and there's a new round of opportunity for public comment and input. This is not the kind of work most archives, most presidential libraries engage in, but for us it's absolutely fundamental to what we're trying to achieve. What I'm illustrating here is that the work we're trying to do is not about possession, ownership. It's about ensuring that what is out there is properly documented, is secure, and is made accessible to people.
Produced by Duke University, online at duke.edu.